Good evening. I'm coming to you late tonight because we just heard the news that United Airlines has settled. They have written a check to poor Dr. Dow, who suffered egregious injuries at the hands of their employees and the airport security that dragged him off that plane 2 weeks ago. It didn't take long for United Airlines to write a check to Dr. Dow because they certainly did not want this to go to court. Unfortunately, and I do say unfortunately because it would be nice to know how much this cost United Airlines and their stockholders. I would love to know how many zeros was at the end of the check they wrote to Dr. Dow for being beaten, humiliated, simply for the fact that he would not give up his seat as a paying customer to an airline employee who wasn't paying a dime. On Nightly News tonight, Lester Holt interviewed the CEO of United Airlines, who did say a lot of mistakes were made, including the fact, remember we talked about this pilot's wife who wrote this letter saying that Dr. Dow was a threat to the pilot and everybody on board that plane. Well, United Airlines, no, they say no, he wasn't. No, he was not a threat. And the biggest mistake they made was calling security police simply because a passenger would not give up his paid-for seat to an airline employee. See, that's not a crime. It's not a terrorist act. Dr. Dow was never a threat to anyone on that plane. In fact, the airline employees were a threat to Dr. Dow. And we know this because Dr. Dow is still unable to work. Remember, he said he had to get home to see patients the next day? Dr. Dow has not seen one patient since that terrible night when he was dragged off that plane because he is unable to. He is still recovering from his concussion, his broken nose, his broken teeth. Sorry, it's city life and Savvy's barking. But Savvy stands for Dr. Dow too. My dog stands for Dr. Dow. We all stand for Dr. Dow. So he suffered broken nose, concussion, sinus injuries. He is going to have surgery. So he has not been able to do his job since that fateful night when he was dragged off that plane. For no other reason than they overbooked the plane and that their employees were more important to them than a paying customer. So Dr. Dow has settled with the airline. I wish I knew for how much. And I wish that instead of it being in secret, that the airlines, as part of the settlement, would have had to come out, although they have already kind of done that, but come out and publicly apologized to Dr. Dow and all of their customers, all of the customers they have bumped over the past so many years. All the customers who have been bumped so an airline employee can ride for free. All of the paying customers that have been inconvenienced have missed their flights because an airline employee comes first before the paying customer. Now, United has promised they're going to change that, and I hope you, the customer, will let me know. And you know how to get a hold of me. I'm easy to get a hold of. You just come here on Facebook. I have a public page. You message me, whatever. If you travel on United Airlines, you let me know if you get bumped so that an airline employee or him and his family or a family member of an airline employee can get on the plane for free. Let me know. We're going to keep following United to make sure they keep up with the promise they made when they settled with Dr. Dow, which we knew they would. But the bottom line is they still have not come out and said, we were wrong. They said, oh, our stuff was antiquated. The employees were going with older rules. Well, you know what? Change your fucking rules, United Airlines. And for that pilot's wife who defended the airline, I have to say, you have been proven wrong. The CEO of United Airlines disagrees with you, ma'am. I know you love your husband and that the airline pays your bills and feeds your children, but that's very nice for you. However, the airline has admitted that they were wrong. And believe it or not, the airline they are wrong. They can be wrong, and they are wrong a lot of times. And thank God for all those wonderful people out there, all of you who recorded what happened to Dr. Dow, so that we all got to see it, so that the airline couldn't say, oh no, he was causing a problem, he was unruly, he was drunk, he was doing something wrong. See, they would have done that if it hadn't been for you recording what happened to him. So thank all of you with your cell phones who pulled your cell phones out and hit record. You are the new age of media in this country. We need to see for ourselves what happens to people when they go against these big ass airlines or these big ass CEOs or these big ass companies, and the way they get treated when they pay for a service and then they get treated like Dr. Dow was. So I congratulate Dr. Dow. I pray for him. I hope that he is doing well. I know he's probably suffering a lot of pain. Sinus surgery is no day at the park. And I certainly hope the amount of zeros that this Nunez guy from United Airlines put on the end of his check was worth it. Because I really wanted to hear a public announcement of how much money they were going to pay Dr. Dow and why. They have sort of admitted that they were wrong and that they're going to try to do better in the future. So I want you guys who travel more than I do. I don't travel. I have a dog. I have responsibilities. But for those of you who travel, I want you to let me know if United is standing by their promise when they settled with Dr. Dow. No more tossing paying customers for employees. No more tossing people who are seated and seat buckled in their seats. No more throwing them off the plane. And better incentives, like up to $10,000 instead of $800, to completely turn your trip upside down. You know, when is the next flight from Chicago to Louisville? Maybe 4 hours from now. Maybe the next day. How can you ask somebody who has plans to change their plans so that your employees can get on the plane to make you more money as an airline? No. And remember, there are many airline employees who fly for free for fun. If this plane had been going to the Caribbean, to Jamaica, to Florida, an airline employee probably could have bumped a passenger so they could get on and go on vacation. It happens. I know it happens. I actually know that for a fact. I know people who do it. Hey, we want to travel for fun. You know, we don't work for the airline anymore, but we want to go to Tahiti tomorrow. Can we get a plane? Oh, great, thank you. Who's getting bumped for them? Think about it. Ask yourselves that question. And remember, Political Paula is always here for you. We have followed Dr. Dow's story. I am very glad that he has some closure, that he won't have to go to court in between surgeries for the injuries he sustained because airline employees came before him as a paying customer. So we hope he recovers and he enjoys his money. And I hope it was enough. I hope it was a lot. I hope it's going to hurt the stockholders of United Airlines. And I hope that the next time they try to bump somebody because an airline employee needs to go somewhere, they think of Dr. Dow, and then they think again. And they decide to inconvenience the airline employee instead of a paying customer. Political Paula, out.